Chris Lee and Blake Lovell here to talk the SEC Basketball Championship game, which features Texas A&M, a surprise entry into the title game, and Tennessee, which comes off a huge win over Kentucky, trying to win its first championship in this event in a long, long time. Vols open as a 6.5-point favorite, according to our friends at Action 24/7. Let's first start with a quick way to let folks know how they can win a little money on this one.
Yes, in the description below, Action 24/7. Click on that link, use the code SOUTH14, and you can place your bets on this game. And yeah, all you have to do is use that code. First deposit, they'll match up to $800. So be sure to use that. And we appreciate it.
Both teams have been incredibly impressive in this event. But my question, I think it starts here. A&M did not appear to run out of gas on Saturday. What do we think about Sunday? I know we're just guessing here, but I always tend to favor the team. I think, first of all, I think Tennessee is the better team. Tennessee is also the more rested team. So to me, that tilts it pretty significantly towards the Vols without knowing anything else.
I think that's kind of my thinking right now, is knowing that, Tennessee, as we said in the previous video, that they have played really, really, really well. And I think that they're a really good defensive team too, right? And that's what we talk about is A&M puts all this pressure. Tennessee, also a very good defensive team in terms of, their ability to really get up in you, play defense, force steals. So I think that is something certainly to look at in this game, and on a fourth day, right? And we said, though, it kind of looked like even in the game between A&M and Arkansas, A&M didn't look that winded. But we kind of went back to talking about they do play quite a few guys, and I think that's something to think about for sure. Is still a team that can rotate guys in and out, as well as Quentin Jackson's been playing. That's something that you think about. I think in this game is we think they're in the NCAA tournament, but we don't know that for sure, and I guarantee you they don't know that for sure. So, this is it, and you know what the message from Buzz Williams is going to be. This is it, guys. One shot here. If you want to be in the NCAA tournament, guaranteed you have to win this game, because otherwise you're going to leave it in the hands of the committee. And again, even though both of us right now think they're in, you don't want to leave anything to chance. And so I think there will be that motivation factor of can they pull it off. But I just think, and we've done this every game in this tournament, right? Think about it. We picked Florida, we picked Auburn, we picked Arkansas, and now it's, I'm going to pick Tennessee. Spoiler alert, early in the video. Maybe it's just fueling A&M. Maybe, I think that's what it comes down to. The matchup itself, to me, is Tennessee's defense is a big part of it. It's funny because I remember the game we talked about they played back in February. We said, man, you look up and watch this game, and you're like, how did this game get to 90-80? Because you think about these two teams as defensive teams, and yet that game they played in Knoxville was very high scoring. There was a lot of free throws shot in that. Yeah, a lot of free throws shot in that game, but that's something to think about here. And that's where you go back to, and you could see it at that time. Vescovy, 13, Chandler, 16, James, 14, Ziegler, 14. That group of four, and I'm going to say it again, they have just been, that chemistry is seemingly unbreakable right now between those four guys on the floor.
They are so tough-minded.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
I mean, A&M kind of is too, but just the way Tennessee can grind you, you just watch them at times where great looks are almost impossible to get. I remember watching them defend down the stretch against Auburn and just thinking, how talented is Auburn? They can't even get good looks. I mean, they slowed down a Kentucky team that really, I thought, got really good looks against Vanderbilt, even though Vanderbilt played well, and that's just who Tennessee is right now.
I think the best way to put it from a mindset standpoint is Texas A&M is playing with a chip on its shoulder. Tennessee's playing with confidence. Like those are two things that I think going into this game tomorrow. You got an A&M team that's still just out to prove that hey, we belong, even though we think they belong at this point. Tennessee is just everything they do. It seems like Tennessee is just like effortless with that group right now, and like they are making it look easy. It's not, but they're making it look easy at times. Um, it's
Speaking of which, here's a problem I see for A&M, Blake. A&M's got a lot of points in transition, things like that this tournament. That's just where Tennessee is not going to give you easy baskets, and I think that's an issue.
right. Everything will be made hard, and I think that's where. Look, we know Quentin Jackson is going to be a big part of what they do, but I think that is also we've seen these other guys step up, whether it's Radford, whether it's Coleman, Diarra has hit some big shots in this tournament as we've talked about. But they play a lot of guys, and I think that that's what we're starting to see is, I mean, even look at guys like what I think Hefner had 9 off the bench against Arkansas. Guys like that who are going to play minutes. So this should be a good game. I think it should be a good game, but to me, this is one where Tennessee is, and look, we're not taking anything away from A&M, but Tennessee is just playing so well right now, and all the talk has been how long it's been since they won the SEC tournament. I just think it's for this group, like it just seems to be in the cards. And look, it's not to say for A&M, it kind of feels that way now, right? To get there as the 8 seed, but I think this is one where I just think Tennessee will figure it out because they to me are the kind of team that, and we could have said this sure about the other teams, Arkansas and Auburn, but I just think Tennessee's defense could be the factor in this one. And I just keep talking about these 4 guys; they're playing so well. I don't think I can pick against them in this matchup. I know I have, against Kentucky, but I think Tennessee wins this game. Fourth game, 4 days for A&M. I think Tennessee can push them to a point that maybe that becomes a factor. Although, like I said, I'm surprised it hasn't really been a factor to this point. So maybe it is A&M just leaving everything they have out here, and all of a sudden they make this improbable run and win the SEC tournament to get in for sure. But I think I'm going to lean Tennessee here.
Well, the place where I'm not going to say we picked Tennessee apart this year, but we talk about their guards often. We don't talk about the post as often. We know about the Olivier Kumwai injury. John Fulkerson is having a nice year off the bench, but it's not what I think people thought he'd be a couple years ago. But the Vols have managed. I mean, Josiah Jordan-James has played phenomenally well on that end of the floor. Jonas Adu has done some things in bits and pieces. Joris Plavsic has just been that tough as nails guy underneath. I guess the thing I'm getting at here, Tennessee has managed it pretty well, is what I'm trying to say. But Henry Coleman III, I don't think Tennessee's got a guy in the paint as good as him. Does that present an issue?
Well, it does, and that's what we've talked about with him because he is that guy that you still have to think about, right? Big time recruit, came from Duke, just didn't work out for whatever reason, and he's played well. And look at the matchups, right, that he's had. Think about it: Castleton, Kessler, Jalen Williams. Think about that row of players right there we just talked about. Those are, and yet Coleman has played well in all of these games. So I think that is something for sure. That's going to be A&M's thing is, think about how well A&M played defensively against Auburn and Arkansas for that matter. How did they do it? And I think it was different in both scenarios where, they forced Auburn to take shots from outside. They did not want to let them dictate what happened in the paint. I think with Arkansas, it's just kind of a scenario where Arkansas was not hitting shots from outside either. And, it certainly, as we said, it helped because Note got in foul trouble. But, they, foul trouble or not, they held those two players, Note and Jalen Williams, combined 9 points. So defensively too, I think having Coleman in there to be able to do some things just with his size, that helps too. I mean, this is a guy that what 6'8", 6'9", I guess. Um, but like he feels like sometimes like he can do a little bit of everything. He can do kind of just so many different things that you need him to do. And so yeah, I mean, I think A&M will present some challenges. There's no doubt about it. But I still think that we talk about matchups, right? And you said it from the beginning. I think Tennessee is one of those teams that matchup wise, I feel like is just a good matchup against Texas A&M. I feel like it's one where Tennessee, because of those that the backcourt, the way they're playing, having James kind of the Swiss Army knife who can do a little bit of everything, and just the penetration of the guards, being able to kick out to Vescovy and those guys to hit shots. Yeah, I think it sets up well for Tennessee because it is the fourth game on the fourth day for A&M. But it is. I'm still thinking about it, man. I'm like, gosh, we have doubted A&M every single time, and I mean they have run through Florida, Auburn, and Arkansas in 3 days, and so I fully expect them to bring it. I think Tennessee will pull it out.
Well, here's the other issue for A&M. The common denominator in this tournament is A&M has just jumped on people and gone for the jugular quickly. And Florida actually responded, but A&M still had the toughness to close, and Auburn and Arkansas just never could make a convincing push. And I wonder if out of the gate you don't see that again where A&M could get out to a spurt. Tennessee does have some scoring droughts. We've talked about that. But then you wonder if it gets to the second half and do they have the energy to finish after just expending all the emotion the last few days. And then again, you speak of matchups. If anybody's guards can grind you, it's Tennessee's and dictate pace and those things. And that just to me is where could I see an A&M hang in with Tennessee for a while? Yes. I could also see this being one of those games where it's tied at half or A&M is up a couple points and Tennessee ends up winning by 12 to 15 points in the end just because you've only got so much in the tank, 4 games in 4 days. And again, Tennessee gives you no quarter when you got the ball.
Yeah. Think about this. Tennessee's only given up more than 68 points once since February the 1st. And that was to Arkansas, who scored 74. But who scored 80 on them, right, on February the 1st? That was A&M. But I think that shows you how well Tennessee's played defensively in this stretch too. It's not just the offense. It's some of those guys getting the steals and those kind of things. So I think that's a big factor in this one to me. I just think that we know they can force turnovers. Does A&M get a little sloppy with the ball because it is another game? This is the next one. Um, I don't know, but I think that those are the things you look at too with Tennessee and say they've been clicking pretty much everywhere. And yes, we had those hesitations about the offense because look, the things on the offense are not directly related to this year necessarily. I think it's us thinking back to what happened last year. They get to the NCAA tournament against Oregon State, fall flat offensively. We've seen that happen in recent years, but I think we also have to just look at it eventually and say, well, we go on what we see right now, and right now the offense has been clicking a lot. Hadn't been perfect, but it hadn't had to be perfect. They played really well on that side. But so knowing they have that with the defense, I think that puts them in a good position here. So
Join the thousands of sports lovers playing with Stakes, the sports-themed social network dedicated to everyone from the fanatics to the casual fans. Stakes, and that's Stakes, is a place to prove your knowledge and win prizes and bragging rights by wagering and making predictions against your friends, other sports fans, and even some of your favorite social media personalities like us. We do have an account on there. Come join us, sign up, use our code Southeastern14 to wager. Again, totally free. You win tokens, you have a lot of fun. Cool app, cool people, so come join us at Stakes. Speaking of stakes. Steak. Shout out, my man. Big day for you.
We're picking Tennessee because Steak slipped us a little money on the side, and he told us he's working on that Omaha Steak sponsorship. So We told him we'd pick Tennessee because of that.
That's right.
Steak.
Joy night steak. You've earned this, buddy.
Yeah, so there you go. There are our thoughts on the championship. Should be a good game, I think. And then, well, as I say, you guys are watching this on Sunday morning, so it is Selection Sunday. Chris, did you know that? It is already Selection Sunday.
Even if it's not where we are.
Well, hey, we're for the first time this year, we're getting organized and actually doing something ahead of time. So, yeah, it's Selection Sunday, and again, we will be doing a live stream later today. And you will see that pop up. You'll see the schedule reminders. We will have it scheduled. Because we're recording this the night before, we still don't know if it's going to be during or after, but you will see it. We will notify you as well through the maybe the community tab. We'll see what we need to do there. But just know, around the selection show, be looking to our YouTube channel because we are going to be doing something, and yeah, it should be fun. So
And all kinds of content coming tournament week.
Yeah.
All kinds of fun. We are the kings of fun.
The kings of fun.
So
T-shirt.
Grab your corn nuts and your zero bars and buckle up.
Man, I tell you, I should have had a few more corn nuts and zero bars this week, I think. It's been fun, though. It's been a fun week, and now we get ready for even more excitement with the NCAA tournament. So,
all right. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you again Sunday.